Hello Reformers and welcome back to Mount and Blade Warband. Oh yes, so welcome back. It's been a while. Now the reason for that is because I was just concentrating on other things and I had a couple of things to do as well in real life and I didn't have enough time. So basically I was just doing the special features and things like that because it was actually really fun to play some new mods. Anyway, as you can see here, we are now laying siege to Ribulay Castle and, well, the main problem with this is that it is indeed a siege tower, as you can see. It took 2 days for me to build this. I returned very, very briefly to Nara, and I retrieved a bunch of new units, and, you know, obviously my trainer skill was working as I was waiting and all that sort of thing, so I have a pretty decent army, not great. It's basically just all over the place at the moment. I'm using all kinds of different units. I've kind of thrown my assimilation rule out of the window, which is really kind of a shame to me because I really wanted to keep that up. But at this stage in the game, I kind of have to use every single advantage I can get, because if I don't, then we're going to have major, major problems. We have just lost Calradia Castle, by the way, to the Kingdom of Nords. However, one of our fellows have already re-sieged it, so that's pretty awesome. Now, I know that in the previous episode we were at Hardened Castle and we were just about to take it, and then we had to retreat because we just lost way too many units, and unfortunately that meant that we had to leave. And then we had King Graveth. Yes, we had a person with huge amounts of units. He has literally 538, I believe. I think he has 538, which is just crazy, crazy numbers, and that's primarily the reason why I had to leave. So yeah, otherwise I would have stayed there, no problem at all. Probably tried to... Are you joking? Oh my. Okay, yeah. So here's the main reason why, in general, some of the time I might decide to reduce the difficulty settings. Not in this case, but some of the time I'll reduce the difficulty, at least the damage modifiers on myself, just so that I stay alive a little bit longer, because now I'm not going to have any fun, and I'm going to just stand here for the remaining time that the siege tower has to get to the walls. Ah, now you've rejoined us in a rather peculiar situation. Now, this siege tower is very similar to the siege tower that we were in beforehand. But, as you can see, the blood has been removed from my head, and we are in a vastly different environment. However, we are still facing the same enemy. I think you can kind of tell what happened. Can you? I wonder whether you can guess. Well, okay, so here's the thing. If you want to guess, then pause the video right now and just write out a comment if you like. You don't have to, but if you want to guess what happened, then by all means, go for it, and I'm going to tell you in about 10 seconds or so. So anyway, point is, we had a slight issue. And the issue was, I was standing here, yes, I was standing here in the siege tower, and you see these holes here? You see these holes? Yeah, you can actually get shot through those, which was kind of surprising to me, because I've actually never been shot through the siege tower holes before, ever before, in my entire time playing this game, which is very unusual to me, but also quite surprising and wonderful to see at the same time. Also a bit disappointing, because obviously, as you could tell, I was very low in HP, and being that low in HP, obviously you can kind of imagine what happened. I got knocked unconscious, and then I was just like, I really don't want to go back in there and build another siege tower. So instead, you know what I've done? I've come to Hardened Castle, which of course now is completely free of King Graveths coming out of the woodwork and doing massive damage to us and all kinds of terrible things. So yes, we're now in Hardened Castle, so technically this should be a lot better, because obviously we're not outnumbered here. You know, we have a much, much better and higher chance of succeeding here, with the exception of the fact that I did lose 20 units attempting to take Ribulay Castle, and that was pretty disappointing in itself, because I personally felt like we had a really, really good shot at it, but obviously the amount of Rodok sharpshooters is just ludicrous. It really, really is. but obviously that is to be expected. I mean, you know how it is. You know, these things just end up happening, and you know, you just tend to lose a bunch of units in these kinds of sieges, especially considering they're so bloody, brutal and bloody battles. And that's obviously going to take its toll on your army, and it has taken a toll on mine. And what I'm going to need to do, I think, is probably go away. I have not spent too much time off screen, as I said at the beginning of the episode. I haven't had much time to do much of anything, to be honest, unfortunately. But basically, what we're going to need to do is probably I'm going to need to go off screen a little bit, try and recruit more Kurgits. That's what I said I'd do I think in the previous episode. It's been a while since the previous episode, so obviously not entirely sure, you know, what my plans were actually, but I think it was probably to go and get some Kurgits and try to get a bunch of Kurgit Lancers ready for battle, because if we are going to be fighting King Graveth at some point, I'm sure it's going to happen sooner rather than later. It's pretty much inevitable to, you know, face him, because he is literally around everywhere in Rodok territory, and he is eventually going to trap us in some way. So getting a band of Kurgit Lancers able to fight, I think that's pretty important, so we can actually win on the fields of battle, because I highly doubt that King Graveth is going to hide himself in a nearby garrison, because that garrison is certainly not going to be, I mean, really, he doesn't need it, you know, the garrison is just not needed, so he's really going to be wanting to attack us on the fields of battle. So there it is. Wow, there's another hiccup, fantastic. But yes, pretty happy with how we're doing so far. Only 11 have been killed of us, but 68 wounded. That's just mind-boggling. I mean, obviously we are the offensive force, and I am used to losing a bunch of casualties when we attack in a siege tower siege, and especially considering they have Rodok sharpshooters and all kinds of wonderful things that can murder us in rather excruciating ways. Anyway, I'm going to be giving this to, I believe, Lord Play. Yes, Lord Play. There we go. Alright, so Lord Drewley, Murchild needs to go to 100. Aha! He's another fellow that I apparently neglected to take up to 100 relations. So Murchild, remind me about Murchild. I know you can't, because this is technically not in real time, but I'm kind of saying that to myself as well to try and remember, I guess. Oh, there's King Graveth. Hello there, sir. You're going to be an annoying person, aren't you? Yes. Ah, we have a bunch of fellows over here. Can you come and help me a little bit? Or are they probably just going to run around, aren't they? Yes, they're probably just going to run around. Well, we are back to full fighting strength, basically. And let's just have a look here. What can I level up? Some Slave Crushers, some Master Archers, I suppose. We can have some Huskarls. Regulars, oh my, we've got some footmen as well, okay. I'm a bit worried about this. Suffice it to say, what are we going to do here? Well, Rolf is pretty decent in his Power Strike, and he's pretty decent in Iron Flesh as well, so I'm thinking maybe I should just start improving his trainer skill, because if we're going to be leveling up a bunch of Kurgit units, we are obviously going to be needing that trainer skill to do just that. So let's see if we can make that happen. I have 4 in trainer skill with King Barney at the moment. He absolutely has awful combat skills. His leadership is pretty decent. I'm pretty happy with that, even though we are absolutely swimming in money, so it really doesn't matter, but obviously the increased army capacity, I suppose, is pretty decent. So I suppose I'll just go for some intelligence. Go for another point in shield and athletics. Actually, in weapon master I think might be a good idea, and we'll go for another point in shield as well, because I definitely need those big shields preventing me from dying from those places. Do I want to stand here and be absolutely murdered by King Graveth? I probably do not. Do I? I mean, if you just take a look at his army, he has 92 Rodok sergeants and 50 Rodok sharpshooters. I personally feel like that is a bit much. That is a bit much for me, so I'm going to have to let that go. But bear in mind that it is going to be relatively easy to take back because he's most likely not going to garrison it with too many units, and as a result we'll be able to take it back just by a you know, pure surrender order or something along those lines. Wow, they lost that what? He gained that extremely quickly. How did he gain that so fast? It's a siege tower. Does he have 30 engineering or something? Obviously I know that that is not possible, but still, that is pretty crazy. That is pretty crazy. Okay, well, it seems like we're gonna have to take that back another time, but wow, that's... I don't even know. I'm a bit speechless by that. But as you can see, Harengoth Castle has been besieged by Lord Garmal, so hopefully he will, at some point, take it back for us. I'm going to try and help these village farmers, because they are going to improve the prosperity of our fiefs in this area, and that is always a good thing. So we have 14 cavalry. That's, yes, that's kind of not enough to do a full charge in, is it? Probably not enough, so we're probably just going to wait here and allow our archers to shoot off into the distance and do a little bit of damage that way, and we're going to see what happens there. So, yeah, at the moment I actually think we have a pretty easy time of things. The only thing that I would say that is currently impeding our progress is the kings, basically. So, King Graveth and King Ragnar and King Yaroglek and all of those guys, they are the reason, I believe at least, where we will have any kind of difficulties. Because, you know, these sieges are basically just a war of attrition, and they are technically going to be resolved extremely easily just by us going in, killing 50, 100 or so of them, and then running out and then reconstructing the siege tower or the ladders or whatever it may be, and then just going back in and eliminating another 50 to 100 and so on and so forth, rinse and repeat. And that's basically the way that I'm probably going to be attempting to progress. But the main, as I've said, the main problem are the kings and the lieges and all that sort of thing, and the more powerful vassals. Because at the moment, I've seen not many powerful vassals a part of the Rodok Alliance at the moment. Technically, they're not the Rodok Alliance. They're the Kingdom of Rodoks, obviously, but, you know, I'm just using that as a kind of, you know, unofficial name, I suppose. I know some of you get a little bit irritated by me giving certain, you know, random names here and there, but I just thought I'd explain that, because there are those of you that are a bit nitpicky about that kind of thing. But anyway, the point is, we're done. We're done helping those guys, which is good, I suppose. I should have taken that mountain bandit, shouldn't I? I probably should have, but as I said before, I kind of want to have Khergit units. So yes, as you can see, Kelradan Castle is still being fought over by Jarl Tarchius. Oh yeah, by the way, I should mention that Jarl Tarchius did actually escape. Yes, he actually escaped Nara's prison, which I don't even know how that happened, to be honest. I think I think there's some funny business going on there. Certainly some funny business. Actually, I can't even do too much right now. Basically, the only thing I can do right now is fight relatively small vassals at the moment. Because, well, unless I come across a siege that is pretty weak, I can't really do anything else. So it seems like I'm going to have to end this episode a little bit prematurely to what I would have liked, but in the coming days, I will be attempting to progress a little bit off screen. I am not going to be doing too many sieges, but I think that in general, you don't really want to see Harengoth siege again. You don't really want to see Ribule Castle siege again, because I mean, it's just another siege tower, isn't it? And that's a bit annoying. So I think what I'm going to do is probably try and take both of those with an army of Khergit Lancers, if I can get those Khergit Lancers, obviously. And if I can't, then, well, I guess you'll see me back with just a higgledy-piggledy army. But again, I don't have too much time at the moment, so obviously, you know, progressing off screen is pretty difficult, as that does usually take a number of hours each day, and I don't have a number of hours. I have literally about maximum about an hour spare each day. So yeah, that's the reason why native hasn't been updated as I would wish, because it is just very time consuming in comparison to doing a special feature, for example. Because a special feature, you know, I can just play from the beginning and I can just have a whole bunch of fun with the new features and all that sort of thing, and I don't have to do any off screen, or very, very little, usually to do with traveling and that sort of thing. So if you haven't already, by all means, if you'd like, check out the special feature of 16th Century that is currently running on the channel. And also, there's a new series that may have already just gone out. I think you've probably already seen that. And, you know, so on and so forth. Maybe check out some of the other series that are not Mount and Blade if you so desire. But otherwise, just bear in mind that native is going to be updated sporadically. I don't think I'll be able to update it every day because I just do not have that much time. So I hope you understand about that. Thank you very much for all of your support on the series so far, and I hope that I will be able to begin uploading it a little bit more to do with the schedule that I would like to do. So maybe every other day, maybe every 2 days, I think would be a pretty decent schedule because I have a lot of other things going on. So anyway, hopefully that will be fine for you, and I do apologize for the lack of it as well. So I thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.